Welcome back to my Slow English podcast. Today, I'm going to tell you a story, an interesting, real news story of something happening right now. So in today's episode, you will improve your listening, learn new vocabulary. We will have a quiz at the end of the story to test your vocabulary, and we will have some speaking practice as well. Everything you need to improve your English. So click the like button, say hello in the comments, and let's get started. Today, we are going to talk about a story that what? A story that recently made a lot of noise online, on the internet. Everyone is talking about this story. Who is involved in the story? Well, there is a famous actor, a famous movie star involved in the story. His neighbor, the neighbor of the actor, is involved in the story. A motorcycle is involved in the story. And most importantly, most crazily, a fight is involved in the story. Okay, so a fight was caught on camera, but as we will see, what we first saw in the story, what people first thought was true about the story, was not the whole truth. So let's start at the beginning. There is a very famous actor named Alan Ritchson. Alan Ritchson, a famous movie star. You might know him from a big TV show that he's in. He's in a very popular TV show called Reacher, okay? And in this show, Alan Ritchson, this actor, who does he play? What kind of character does he play in this TV show? He plays a very strong, tough, badass character, a badass character. Very, very cool, right? But for many people, he is also known for an earlier, funnier role, a role he played in a show called Blue Mountain State. But the point is, he's a big guy. He's a large man, a very physical presence he has. Big muscles, tall, and strong. All right? That's Alan Ritchson. Well, recently, a video was released. Okay? A video came out. It was released. The video seemed to show Alan in a very bad light. What does that mean? If someone is shown in a bad light, that means it doesn't make them look good. In fact, the opposite, right? It makes them look very bad. This video, it came from a security camera. A security camera, right? That captures things that are going on for the purpose of security. So obviously you install a security camera in order to be safe, right? Well, the footage from this security camera showed Alan, the actor, hitting another man, a neighbor, one of his neighbors. The video spread very quickly. It was a moment of lots of drama. Everyone was talking about this crazy video. There was a lot of internet drama, everyone talking about this popular thing, right? Well, people on the internet were quick to judge, quick to cast judgment, we could also say. They were quick to come to their own conclusions or draw their own conclusions, right? How could we say that another way? They were quick to make up their minds about what they saw, right? They saw a famous, strong man beating up someone else, someone who was not famous, someone who was not as big or as strong as him, right? So many people started to criticize him harshly. Criticize him harshly. Criticize him harshly. Say mean things, critical things, severe things about him. They used words like unhinged. Unhinged. What does that mean? Do you guys know? Unhinged. If someone is unhinged, it means they are crazy. They are out of control, right? They are not under control. No, they are out of control. People said he was a danger to be around. He was a danger to other people, right? The reaction to this video was very strong and very negative. People saw this video of him attacking his neighbor, and they really went for his throat. They went for his throat. It felt like a modern day dog pile. A dog pile, right? What's a dog pile? A dog pile is where everyone jumps to attack one person. One person starts criticizing them, then another person, and another, and right? That's a dog pile. Everyone piles on. Okay, well, at this point, the neighbor, a man named Ronnie Taylor, the man who was attacked by this famous actor, he began to talk to the media, the news. He began to speak to the media. He gave interviews. He was telling his side of the story of what happened, and his side of the story, the neighbor's side, made Alan look even worse. Why? Well, the neighbor, Ronnie, said that he was an experienced motorcycle rider. Okay? He said that, yes, I ride motorcycles. I have a lot of experience with riding motorcycles. He claimed, he said that Alan was riding his motorcycle through the neighborhood at incredibly dangerous speeds. Let me say that sentence again. He claimed that Alan was riding his motorcycle through the neighborhood at incredibly dangerous speeds. So, in other words, this guy was on his motorcycle, zooming around the neighborhood really, really fast, going too fast. He used words like incessant revving to describe the noise. Incessant revving. Revving is when you do this on a motorcycle. That's called revving. What about incessant? Incessant means it doesn't stop. It goes on and on and on. Incessant revving. Doing that all day, right? So he's claiming he had to do something about this. Why? Because children lived in the area. There were lots of kids in the neighborhood. He claimed, the neighbor said, he simply asked Alan to slow down. That's all he did. That's all he said. Come on, slow down. He then described how the situation escalated. Escalated. Say that with me. Escalated. If a situation escalates, that means it gets out of control, right? Ronnie said he pushed Alan. So the neighbor admitted. He said, yes. Okay. I did push him. But then he said, Alan got off his bike and kicked the crap out of him. So the neighbor is saying that after he pushed Alan attacked him. Okay? He showed pictures of his injuries. The places where he got hurt, right? His injuries. He presented himself as a patriot, a hero who was just trying to protect his neighborhood and protect the kids in the neighborhood, right? So that's how he is presenting himself, or the image he is creating for himself, right? He seemed like an innocent man, just a normal guy, your everyday guy, your average Joe, that just means a normal person, right? Your average Joe who was attacked by a violent celebrity for no reason, right? So that was the neighbor's side of the story. And based on the first video and Ronnie's emotional interview, this neighbor, he's getting emotional, talking to the media, talking to the news, okay? Many people had already decided who was guilty. The public opinion, the opinion of the public, was very much against Alan Ritchson, okay? People were not happy with Alan, the actor. But then, here's where it gets interesting. Everything changed. New evidence was released, okay? New videos came out, and this was body camera footage. Body camera footage taken from someone's body. This video was recorded by the police or by the people involved that showed the entire incident from the beginning. So now we have new videos, and the new videos painted a completely different picture. The picture painted by the new videos was completely different than what? Than Ronnie's side of the story, his neighbor's side of the story, right? Okay, so what could we see in the new videos? It turns out that the first security camera video, Ronnie's video, was edited. Okay? It was manipulated. He had changed it, right? It only showed the very end of the fight. It left out everything that led up to it, everything that had come, everything that had occurred, everything that had happened before the fight. It was like reading the last page of a book and thinking that you've read the whole story, right? That's kind of what it was like. It was like flipping to the very last couple of pages, reading those and saying, okay, I read the whole book. So let's talk about what the full body cam footage actually showed. What actually happened that day? First, it showed the speed of Alan's motorcycle. Now, remember, Ronnie had claimed Alan was driving like a what? A crazy person? We could say driving like a lunatic. We could say driving like a maniac, lunatic, maniac. Both of these words mean a crazy person, right? So Ronnie had claimed he was flying along, rocketing along, speeding along at extremely high speeds. But the body cam, this new footage, showed a speedometer. Okay? That is a tool in a car or on a motorcycle that displays, that shows how fast you are going. Well, Alan's top speed was only 22 miles per hour. In most residential areas, or places where people live, like a suburb with lots of houses, right? Not many stores, mostly homes, mostly houses. In most residential areas, the speed limit is 25. So not only was he not speeding, in fact, actually, he was going under the speed limit. So this directly contradicted or went against everything his neighbor Ronnie had said, had claimed, right? Second, also, the footage showed how the confrontation actually began, how the fight actually started, right? It showed Alan riding his motorcycle slowly down the street, and he had his 2 young children with him, also on small bikes. They were practicing safe riding. So here's Alan on his big motorcycle. Here's 2 little kids, his sons, his 2 young children, on their small motorcycles. He's actually being a good dad. He is teaching them how to ride responsibly, right? Then the footage, the video shows Ronnie Taylor, the neighbor. He was not just standing on the side of the road, he actively stepped out into the middle of the street. So in the footage, we see Ronnie Taylor standing there in the middle of the street, blocking them. He moved sideways like a basketball player playing defense and positioned himself directly in front of Alan's moving motorcycle. So he got in front of this movie star and his motorcycle, stopping him, blocking him, right? Okay, well, when Alan saw this, he slammed on his brakes to avoid what? To avoid hitting Ronnie, to avoid crashing into Ronnie, right? He braked so hard that he was thrown over the handlebars of his own bike, his own motorcycle. Ronnie's action, stepping in front of a moving vehicle, caused the initial accident. Initial, meaning the first part of the accident. Initial means first, right? He was the instigator. Instigator. What's an instigator? An instigator is a person who starts the problem, who causes the problem. Okay? So, after Alan got up from the ground, Ronnie continued to be aggressive. Act aggressively, like he was looking for a fight, right? That's aggressive. He was yelling, screaming, hollering, calling Alan names, and saying he was driving like a lunatic, crazy person. Alan tried to get his bike up off the ground. It had fallen over onto the ground, right? And he tried to leave What he wanted was to de-escalate the situation. Remember, escalate a situation, right? Well, de-escalate a situation is to cool everyone down. How could we say that another way, a different way? If you de-escalate a situation, maybe you calm everyone down. You take things down a notch. We could also say lower the temperature, right? That's what he wanted. He wanted to de-escalate things, and he wanted to go away. But this neighbor, Ronnie, he wouldn't let him, okay? So the body cam footage shows Ronnie following Alan around. He's following, continuing to shout. And at one point, Ronnie pushes Alan, physically pushes him. Now, Alan, he's a much bigger man, right? He pushes back, okay? Ronnie pushes, Alan pushes back. And then, and only then, does the physical fight begin. This is the exact moment the first security camera video started, okay? So everything leading up to this point was not included in that first video that everybody saw, right? That video made it look like Alan started a fight with a helpless neighbor, okay? But that's not what really happened. What happened in reality? In reality, Alan was reacting to a neighbor who had caused an accident and then continued to be physically aggressive. So, who was the real aggressor? Aggressor or instigator? The person who started it. Whose fault was this? The evidence strongly suggested it was Ronnie Taylor, right? He instigated the entire situation by stepping in front of the bike. He caused the accident. He prevented Alan from leaving, prevented him from leaving, stopped him from leaving, right? He was pushing, he was shouting. It seems his goal was not to protect the neighborhood like he had claimed originally, right? But to provoke a reaction. In other words, he didn't care about protecting the neighborhood. He was just looking for a fight, right? Okay. So many people watching the full video came to the same conclusion. They reached the same conclusion. What was that conclusion? Ronnie was looking for confrontation. Possibly, he was hoping for a lawsuit, right? A lawsuit. He was trying to get money from a famous rich movie star, okay? Now, the police agreed with this assessment. The police concurred. They agreed, and they reviewed all of the evidence, the body cam footage, they reviewed it, witness statements, or, there were people who watched what happened, who saw what happened. They made statements. Those people are called witnesses, right? If you see a crime or witness a crime, we call you a witness, okay? So the witnesses, they gave statements, and they basically looked at every side of this story, and in the end, they cleared Alan Ritchson of any wrongdoing. They said, this guy is what? What's the opposite of guilty? Do you know it? Starts with an I. He is innocent. He did nothing wrong. Okay? They said he was defending himself after being provoked. Provoked. Like if someone is poking you, poke, or pushing you, push, they are provoking you, right? The case was closed and no charges were filed against him. Okay, That's the end of the story, guys. So now I'm going to give you a short quiz. Okay? Let's test and see if you were paying attention to the different words that we were learning in this story. 5-question quiz, and then we will have a speaking cool down activity. So make sure you keep watching all the way till the end, okay? Here's the first question. After the first video came out, many people joined in a digital what? Attacking the celebrity online. What do we call it when lots of people join in and start attacking somebody? We call it starts with a D, a dog pile. So we can say many people joined the digital dog pile. Dog pile, right? Okay. Question 2. His actions in the full video directly what the story he told in his interview? What's another way to say go against something? Go against something starts with a C. Do you know it? His actions in the full video directly contradict the story he told in his first interview, right? So the video contradicts his interview. They don't line up. They don't match up, right? Okay. Number 3, the police determined Alan Ritchson was acting in what? Not as an attacker. He was acting in what is it? He was acting in self-defense. Trying to what? Protect himself, right? Okay, great. 2 more. The neighbor was revealed to be the what? As he was the only one who started the physical confrontation. So it was revealed that the neighbor was the, how do we say, person who starts a conflict, starts a problem. Starts with an I. He was revealed to be the instigator. Instigator. Great. Last one. The situation was full of high what? With accusations and secrets being revealed. It was full of high drama. Lots of dramatic stuff was going on in this situation, right? Okay, great, guys. We're going to end with a speaking cool down. Here's my challenge for you. I want you to use your own words and retell today's story. You can pause the video, you can talk out loud, or you can leave me a comment in the comment section and I will give you some feedback on your English. I'm going to go first. I'll give you an example of what I'd like you to try and do. Here I go. In today's story, we learned about some internet drama. There's an actor named Alan Ritchson who got into an argument, a fight with his neighbor. Now, the neighbor claimed that Alan Ritchson was driving around at crazy speeds, racing around the neighborhood, revving his motorcycle, being really dangerous. And the neighbor claimed that he did push the man. He did push this movie star, Alan Ritchson, but he was just trying to protect the neighborhood. Okay, he showed some video evidence from his security camera that made this guy, Alan Ritchson, look very bad, made him look terrible, cast him in a negative light, right? And initially, at first, everybody piled on. There was a big dog pile, a digital dog pile on Alan Ritchson. Everyone was saying, this guy's so terrible. Look, we have this arrogant movie star, lots of money, thinks he can get away with this, thinks he can do whatever he wants, and he's violent, right? It was a really bad look until more footage came out. More footage was released, and people realized that the neighbor had only showed the end of the altercation. altercation, conflict, fight, right? After the new footage came out, people realized the neighbor was lying, and it was him who had started everything. He was the instigator, right? He had stood in the way of the motorcycle, which wasn't even going that fast, and he had been the first one to push Alan Ritchson, who, when he hit back, was really just acting in self-defense, trying to de-escalate the situation. So the story is kind of a lesson in don't be too quick to judge. Don't jump to conclusions, right? Jumping to conclusions can be a bad idea. All right, that was my retelling in my own words. Your turn. Go ahead, give it a shot. If you want the PDF for this video to review, to make sure you don't forget what you learned, become a channel member. It's only $1. You'll get access to PDFs for all of my videos. You will get hours of bonus videos, including my English book club, and you will be supporting me as your YouTube English teacher. I simply could not keep making videos without my channel members, so I love you guys. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Let me know a new word you learned in this video down in the comments, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.